I will be brief and speak almost in telegraphic terms, but I think we have to focus on two or three major points rather than to diversify and to talk about too many things at the same time. I was a member of the panel last year, and I said then that I thought that we are winning the war against Iran. And I think, yes, we are winning the war against Iran, and I'm more confident this year than I was even last year. If we look at the events in the last few weeks, we must remember a few salient features of what has been going on. The first was the bluster over the Iranian threat to close the Straits of Hormuz, and the very, very inflammatory statements made by Iranians as the United States was prepared to enter Hormuz with a greater fleet than it had before. And when ultimately the Abraham Lincoln, the aircraft carrier, steamed into the Straits, accompanied by warships of Britain and France, the Iranians simply said meekly that this was normal activity. It was not normal by any means. But this was, I think, a measure of the way the Iranians realized what situation they were entering into. Secondly, everybody has been talking about the fact that the sanctions so far have been ineffective. Well, maybe here in Israel we feel they're ineffective, but if you ask the Iranian in the streets of Tehran, they are very effective. The fact that the value of the Iranian rial has depreciated by 50% in a very short time, the fact that food prices are rocketing sky high, the fact that there's a run on the banks in Tehran, all this is part of the daily turn of events, the daily life that the Iranian is experiencing in recent weeks. And I believe that this has been one of the main features which has caused the Iranians to do what they swore they would never do, and that was to reinstate the Iranian nuclear issue on the agenda in the discourse and in the negotiations between Iran and the world. Iran has not only agreed to resume talks with the 5+1, with the issue of Iranian capability on the agenda, but they've also, as you probably realized and have known, have permitted a group of the IAEA from Vienna to enter Iran. They've completed their first visit there yesterday, the day before. They've already announced that they're coming back again on the 21st of this month. They now have a very able director, a Japanese senior official, Amano, who is entirely different from his Egyptian predecessor, al-Bardai, who was a human catastrophe in many aspects. And I think the Egyptians should be happy that he has withdrawn his candidacy to be president of Egypt. I think that's the most important thing he has done in recent years. And I believe that things are moving. Are they moving fast enough? They never move fast enough. Should we like sanctions to be even more biting? Sure, we should like it. But up to now, I think we're not doing all that bad. And I think we have to look at the sunny side up of the situation and not on the other side, as we are always prone to do. My former friend and colleague, Bogi Alon, who was not only chief of staff, but he was director of military intelligence for several years, and at one time we were colleagues together. He obviously made better career advances than I did. But the fact of the matter is that when he was director of military intelligence, he also saw the sunny side up, because he also was involved in many, many activities which have been going on for the last 20 years to deal with the Iranian threat in various ways and various means. And I think that we should not only try and avoid self-accusation, as he said, we should also avoid self-victimization. We're not victims. And if the Minister of Defense of Israel, Mr. Barak, has said that we are the strongest military and strategic power in the Middle East within a radius of 1,500 kilometers from Jerusalem, and I agree with him, then if we are such a power, I think we should talk like a power, we should act like a power, and we should gain the results as a power. I want to focus on one other point, and this will be my second point. I believe that in facing Iran, like facing any other threat, we should always look at the vulnerable points of our opponent. Where is his vulnerability? And where can we get maximum result? And I believe that in this respect, what is going on in Syria today is a major problem from Iran of not only regional dimensions, but international dimensions. What will happen in Syria will determine to a large extent the future of the Middle East, and in that Bashar al-Assad was right in saying that if there is a change in Syria, this will have wide ramifications, international ramifications. Syria is now at the hub. Syria is key to Hezbollah. Syria is key to Iranian power in the Middle East today. There is an Iranian military presence in Syria, and this has been admitted in recent weeks. The future of what happens in Damascus will have a major effect throughout the region, especially in terms of what this means for Iran. And I think we are making a big mistake, and I say we, I think the countries of the world, and to some extent Israel, in dealing with Syria as if it is a problem of Syria, and dealing with Iran as if it is a problem of Iran. We should look at Syria as part of the Iranian complex and decide what we would suggest in terms of what should be the ultimate result in Syria. We must not be involved in this. This is not for us to determine what will happen in Syria and who will rule Syria. But if, as far as we are interested and concerned, we should worry as to whether the Iranian presence in Syria will continue, I think we have a major interest in assuring that the Iranians are booted out of Syria. And if this is achieved, and I think that it is possible to achieve this, and if it is the interest of most of the countries in the region, including Turkey today, and Turkey and Israel have, I believe, a common interest here, and we should look at our relations with Turkey in this context, and not just in the context of whether we do or do not mouth a word or two of regret about what happened on a certain ship. The issues here are much greater than that. So we have come to the point where we should act as a power, we should talk like a power, and if we do this, I think we will also get the results of a power. Thank you.